Hello and welcome to another episode of Film Freaks with a Z, the podcast all about movies. Sometimes with a Z. I think I make this joke every time. Anyways, welcome in. This is the podcast about movies, where we talk about movies for a whole episode. Movie review, kind of, you know what I'm saying? And, of course, we're always asking you guys to put in movies for the fan vote. And actually, attached to this episode is the fan vote on my Twitter at Yemmy the Ferret. Go on there, find that post. It's probably going to be the first thing you see, honestly. And you can vote. And then usually that lasts until Saturday morning-ish. So if you're listening to this late, maybe you missed it, maybe you didn't. Go and check my Twitter. The movies you can vote for are Falling Down, which was recommended by Callus. Hard Boiled, which was recommended by Ant Askew. Goodfellas, which was the OG Maz's request. That was one of the first ones we got. And then The Good, the Bad, and the Weird from Player 2, requested by Player 2. Good luck to all of you. I like rhyming. Is it good? I don't know. Let's ask my fellow co-hosts. As you know, I am Yummy the Ferret. But who am I here with?
Grady Waffle.
Taymation.
And Google Gamer.
How are my rhymes? Are they busted?
I think if you keep them down to like a few per episode, I think it's good.
All right, I'm going a little bit overboard. I understand.
Don't do it at all.
Yeah, don't go overboard.
Oh man, Coco's saying don't do it at all.
Well, Coco, he's not refined like me, so and you.
Coco's rating my rhyming skills a 1.5 out of 5. Yeah.
What do the cool kids say nowadays? You be spitting.
No one says that.
You be
I think they
spitting.
do.
I guess
They say that all the time.
out of all people, Coco's the youngest. He should know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
No one
true.
says that.
Well,
I guess.
well, Tay, you recommended a movie for us
I
today.
sure did.
Well, what'd you recommend?
I recommended Apollo 13 from 1995. It's directed by Ron Howard. Writers were Jim Lovell, Jeffrey Kluger. Hold on, I have to click to get the other two writers. William Broyles and Al Reinert. It stars Tom Hanks, Bill Paxton, Kevin Bacon, Gary Sinise, I don't know, is it? Ed Harris, and Kathleen Quinlan, and several others. Actually, I wanted to start the conversation. I had a question for you guys. Do you know how they filmed all the like zero G stuff?
They were upside down.
I think I looked it up because I think they have like a space like practice for it, like that astronauts use.
The simulation
prior
thing,
to-
why would they
Correct.
actually use?
Yeah, prior to lifting off. So I think
Yeah,
that's
it's
what
so
they
it's
use.
it's a pab. I can't say that word. I can't.
It's a thing.
Palabra plane. I can't say it. It's fine. My wife's in the background trying to explain me to say it. I can't. All right. So it's a plane that just goes giant U's,
Mhm.
and as it goes down, everyone experiences zero G for about 25 seconds. So they filmed these scenes 25 seconds at a time to get
Damn.
that zero G.
Yeah.
Yeah, jeez.
Wow.
It looked good. It didn't look
Yeah,
bad.
Well, I mean, because it was actual zero G.
Yeah.
It was when I looked, it's because like that was my thought. I was like, that's probably how they did it, but that'd be crazy because you don't have much time.
Mhm.
But that is how they did it, and they are the only movie who has done that.
Wow.
Wow.
It's
I saw-
impressive.
Yeah, I also saw that they took some of the scenes where they were filmed like underwater, like they just had the actors like swimming.
Oh,
And,
Yeah.
so yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know
I
about
guess
that.
that's what I saw.
Because you would be able to see the water and like their hair would be reacting differently.
yeah,
Yeah, might be true.
and they wouldn't be able to talk. There was a lot of talking.
Yeah. Unless you just want to hear.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they filmed like some objects reacting in like water, and then like green screened them in or something. adjusted the effects so they didn't look like they were in water. I don't know.
This was Zero Gravity. Never mind. Different movie.
Oh.
Oh.
Wow. Talking about a different movie.
Well, it's in one of those, like, you Google it and you pull down those tabs and
yeah,
they're just like, I didn't read the main title.
Got to read the fine print inside the fine print.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. So overall, this is obviously based on a true story. But what are your overall thoughts? Let's get that out of the way.
I thought they had enough writers on it, but it was written really well. I found Tom Hanks is like born for these roles. You know, he was in Sully, Captain Phillips. You know, this one.
Definitely.
He's kind of born for these roles where he's kind of like that leader. Saving Private Ryan's another one of those ones. And I felt like they wrote him really well, and overall, I thought the quality of like the writing was really good.
I agree. I definitely agree with that. I thought. No, what was I'd say? I forgot what I was saying. Never mind. Nick, you go.
Yeah, I thought the movie was well written, and I thought the movie was also very educational. To like the viewers, I guess you'd call us, who know nothing really about flying, I guess, or space engineering.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
And, I thought some of the issues that they had and the ways they came up with the ways to fix it, like that part with the CO2, carbon dioxide, was a big thing. It was rising and rising. They had to make that little vacuum or air vent. I forget what they called it.
Yeah.
But I thought those scenes are cool, and I thought overall this movie was well directed, like you guys said, and the actors are phenomenal too.
Yeah, it was really cool, like watching them kind of go through it, even though they kind of showed like small snippets of it. They kind of, when they were building the thing, they kind of went away from it. But once the astronauts were building it themselves, they showed more of the process. And I liked how the guy was like, "Oh, I ripped the bag," and the other guy's like, "Well, they have one more." So.
Yeah, that would be so intense. Like if someone's just like, "Hey, you're dying," and you're in the process of like choking out because your air is polluted and not working. Here, make this thing that's going to save your life. You have one chance.
Yeah.
I'd just say Tom Hanks in this movie, his character was so calm through the entire time of it, while everyone else was just freaking out.
Yeah, I mean that's the sign of a good captain or commander.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm not saying it was bad or anything. I'm just saying he was so calm.
Yeah, of course it was based off of the real person, so I'm guessing that's how he was actually in space, which is pretty crazy, honestly.
Yeah, it is pretty crazy for it.
Although it's one of the writers, because they got some of the writing from Jim Lovell's book that he wrote.
Mm-hmm.
So, he might have been like, "Yeah, I was stoic as hell the whole time," while meanwhile, may have not been. But he wrote it, so who are we to judge?
That brown
there was
spot
only two
on
other
my
people up there.
Nothing.
Yeah,
that was nothing.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that he wasn't. Maybe he could have been stoic, but he's the one who kind of wrote it. So, although I think Kluger wasn't. Yeah, because there's another book it was based off. He might have been like one of the ground control people. So he's like, I mean, yeah, I guess that's how he seemed when we talked on the radio. But
yeah,
there was no one to confirm if that's how he was, and really.
Yeah. Sorry.
I was going to say, Coco, go ahead and give us your thoughts. You have. Yeah.
Well, I was going to say two things about stuff that. Overall, I think the first half the movie, I don't want to get too detailed because I was going to explain more of it. The first movie, it was a little slow. I get that they were trying to set him up a little, but get slow. I did appreciate that they kind of just skipped ahead on the months and not have every month go down on each time, because that would get pretty boring. The simulations part I really enjoyed because it was really cool to see. And then, but the second half, everything starts picking up, and the movie gets a lot more intense than I thought it would be.
That's true. Yeah, no, there was times where I'm just like, it's like I've seen this movie. It's like I know how it ends, obviously, but there was just times even when they had Kevin Bacon's character, Jack. Like he has to hit a button. Like after, and this is after he already hit a button and screwed everything up. I mean, he didn't screw it up, but everything went to hell when he pushed a button.
Yeah.
And so it's just like you have to push this button again. And he's just like, I don't wanna. And it's like, I know nothing's gonna happen. Maybe, I don't know. It's been forever since I saw it.
But I did enjoy the movie. So when I watched it, if I could watch 5 minutes of it, I turned it off because I got a little bored. But as I kind of like, and then came back to a couple hours later because I had some time. So and then just watched it all the way through.
Wait, you turned it off after the first 5 minutes?
Yeah,
He's like,
I actually had to do something. Then I came.
First 5 minutes, he's like, nope, I'm not watching this. Screw it.
Tom Hanks in
watch
a
it.
sports car?
By the time.
No, thank you.
Tom Hanks driving slow on the road? No.
He wasn't driving slow at all. He was speeding past everyone.
No, it looked like he was driving slow. I mean, I don't
he
know
didn't
if
race
that's how
those
the scene
kids.
was set up, but I mean, he kind of cut off that car.
He definitely cut off that car. I definitely noticed that.
Yeah, they made sure like the real guy behind Tom Hanks' character was an asshole like that, so they made sure to put like a little jab at him or something.
Yeah, but so I did enjoy the movie.
Well, that's good to hear. I thought for sure you were going to just come in and like it was too slow and boring, and I didn't like it.
Yeah.
I do want to say, they over-explained a few things a few times with the news reporters, like the scientist guys would say something and be like, "Oh, the CO2 is killing them," and then you would switch over to a news thing on someone's TV and it would be like, "Oh, the CO2 is killing the astronauts," and then it was almost like every time they would say something in the movie, there would be like a few seconds later they'd be repeating it on the TV, and that got a little annoying to me. It happened a few times where there was just like, okay, I don't need the information again.
Yeah.
And there was one point where I think like 3 different newscasters like said like literally the same thing over and over again in a row, and I was like, this is getting a little ridiculous. But luckily it wasn't like so much in the movie that it was ruining it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
definitely.
agree with that.
Yeah, and I know, like I'm pretty sure all the newscasts and everything that were actually like the actual newscasts from the time.
Except the one that was interviewing Tom Hanks.
Well, yeah. Well, that one actually might have been because it cut away to Tom Hanks, so it might have been like, I interviewed John Lovell, and then it cuts to Tom Hanks to say what.
Yeah, that's true. That could be it too.
Yeah, it's a possibility.
Yeah, but I feel like they didn't need to put a lot of those news reports in, especially just after everything was just explained, by the scientists about what was going on and how everything was happening. And then we were actually seeing it from the astronauts' perspective, and it's like, I get it, I get it. Hello, I'm waving down the director like, it's enough, thank you.
Ron Howard just really wanted to make sure you got everything.
Got both sides of like from the people of Earth and from people of.
That's a good segue. What I actually wanted to bring up, I don't know how you guys felt, but I thought any scenes with the wife and like the kids were like a little like not needed, I guess. I mean, I get why they put him in there. It's his family; they're worried about him, but it was just kind of like, okay, like you know what I mean. Especially when the issues first started happening, and the radio was on. And then she like turns it off, cries, and then turns it back on. It's like, what? Like I didn't get it.
It was all character development.
Yeah, well.
I'm just glad that the kids didn't have more screen time, because you could tell that they did not know how to act.
Yeah.
The youngest boy, like he looked so familiar, but I cannot remember where I've seen him. And like I think it was just he was some child star on like like a sitcom or something from the 90s, and that was like all he ever did. But it's enough to make me go like, I know I've seen this kid before besides this movie.
Yeah. I don't know, just there's some kid performances that it's just that they picked them just because they were cute, instead of like actually having acting ability, because there's kids actors out there who are very good at acting. Pan's Labyrinth is a good example of like great child acting. But then you have movies like this and the beginning of Wonder Woman with that child actors. Like, they have to have some acting ability along with the cuteness. You can't. Not every kid's Macaulay Culkin.
Exactly.
I'm glad you guys agree with that.
Yeah, I don't think that they were unnecessary scenes. I think that they added a good second, or maybe like even a third side to the story, where the astronauts, the how the wives of the astronauts are reacting, because that's also pretty stressful for the people who love him, of course, or love them, of course.
Yeah.
So it's good to see what's going through their heads. The creepy pastor touching the kid's head.
Oh, gee,
Yeah,
I noticed that, and I was just like,
No.
why are you comforting the kid just because he was like, hey, Mom, you're squeezing me too hard? It's like, creepy pastor being creepy.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But I will say most of those scenes were fine. Like, they didn't ruin the experience for me, because it's like, okay, we kind of need some of this because we gotta know, because the wife's a big part of the movie, obviously.
Yeah.
And I feel like her scenes are needed, and I was expecting the pregnant lady to go into labor because of the little thing they put in at the beginning. They're like, I'm not supposed to pop for another 30 days, and I was like, oh, she's definitely gonna be, give birth while he's up there. But no.
That just would have been their luck.
Yeah, well,
Probably.
Yeah.
I do want to ask you guys what you thought about the best character in the whole movie, who only got like 5 scenes. Jim Lovell's mom, the old lady.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like she just everywhere more screen time. We didn't.
I like this. I like how she's like with the other astronauts who went to the moon first, and she's just like, oh,
Are you in Space Academy too?
She was great, and she reminded me of like the grandma from the TV show Dinosaurs.
I
remember that show.
vaguely remember.
Yeah.
The big
Now
puppet
that you mentioned
dinosaurs. Yeah.
Yeah, now I can't unsee that.
Right?
Now I'm thinking about that.
I almost wonder if it was like the same actress who played the grandma in Dinosaurs. Like voice, not necessarily the actual puppeteer, but
I doubt it.
probably not. But who knows?
That's why they chose her, because she's such a good dinosaur.
She is the best dinosaur.
She's a good dinogram. Get it?
And you guys were complaining about my rhymes earlier. Well, what about Greedy's jokes?
Yeah.
I didn't complain about your rhymes, and I won't complain about Greedy's jokes.
That's fair.
Fair enough.
So I'm the judge here.
Yeah,
Credit.
yeah, Judge Coco.
Boy, here we go.
Well, I should say critic, because I was going to say the same thing about his jokes, but
Coco's like, the sentence is death.
that's not acceptable.
Oh no. Well, it looks like we've got an opening for a 4th person on this podcast.
One of us is getting kicked out.
Well, you just said you were killing off Nick.
I didn't say I'd kill Nick.
Okay.
Anyways,
let's try and bring
Anyway.
this back around,
Anyways,
like the slingshot around the moon, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I know we like to talk about this a lot. The special effects in the movie, like the green screen and stuff like that. There were only a few moments where it was extremely noticeable, like when they were zooming out of the spaceship. But other than that, I thought everything looked pretty good. Even like the rocket launch, like the pre-launch stuff, that looked really good. I don't know if that was a real spaceship or not. I don't think it was, but it looked really good if it wasn't.
Footage. Yeah, I don't know. The one scene that stood out to me. So when the one pilot got kicked off for maybe having measles, and he was watching the launch from a distance. That clearly looked like a green screen.
That was a great place to watch the launch, though. I'm surprised.
That would be a good place to watch it. But yeah,
surprised to get around them in that close. It was not like close, but
I was like, he was further. Yeah, he was further than the actual spectators.
Yeah, that was a nice angle, though.
Yeah. But I could tell that was green screen. So, but I agree. I think special effects were really good. I mean, there was probably some limited CGI while they're out in space and stuff, but I think it holds up pretty good.
Yeah, like the exposed, destroyed spaceship. There's a spaceship in the spacecraft in general looked
Yeah.
good. There was nothing like obviously fake about it. Even though it was all probably a 3D rendered model, it still looked really, really good. Or maybe it was even like maybe
Just
because
a model.
because they did build the capsule, at least we know that, because it's at
Yeah.
the Universal lot in Florida. So maybe they did actually make this whole thing, but getting those angles and making it look like it was actually in space, maybe they had it on like wires and they were spinning it and stuff like that, and they would
That
add
would
in
be
like the
pretty
puffs
cool.
of smoke with special effects. Either way, it
Maybe. I mean,
looked good.
yeah, so they could have done something just like, the Star Wars, Star Trek effect where it's like it's just sitting there and the camera's doing all the movement.
Yeah, that could be. Well, it was oh, yeah, it did look like it was rotating, so that yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would have to look into a little bit more, but whatever way they did it, it worked. That's all I gotta
Yeah,
say.
Yeah. No, it looked good. It looked good.
And just imagine recreating the inside of that cockpit, like all the different buttons and stuff, and lights and gizmos.
Yeah, there was like a wide attention to detail in this. Yes.
Well, like I said, the fact that they were willing to film all the zero G scenes 25 seconds at a time
Yeah.
shows you what kind of detail they were willing to go. Ron Howard does not cut corners.
Another thing I wanted to point out, I
Or
love
at
that.
least in the 90s.
Sorry.
Sorry.
One part of the movie, like when you said that when the whole ship was getting colder, you could see like frost lines. Like I'm not sure if it was inside or outside the window, but it was like blue things of frost on each of the window sides. So you could see that the ship was like it wasn't like completely frozen, but it was definitely getting colder because of the lack of heat.
Yeah, it was freezing because of the condensation freezing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just thought that was really cool to see.
Agreed.
Going back to the little aside that Tay had said, I've heard a few things about Ron Howard. What happened with him? Did his movies just go downhill all of a sudden, or because I
don't know. Just I know the last one he did,
Solo?
where he took over. Yeah, the Solo movie where he took over. So it was like it wasn't his, baby from the beginning, and he just tried to save it and didn't do a good job. So again, I don't think it was necessarily his fault. More just that the production was just riddled with garbage from the get-go. And other than that, it's like I can't think of anything he's done recently. I'm sure he's done a lot recently, but I haven't seen anything recently that was his besides Solo, which it just wasn't great.
Yeah, I don't think he's really done much since like The Grinch.
Oh, that's true. He did do The Grinch, which I didn't really care for The Grinch either. But that was more just me.
Nah.
Like I don't think taking a 30-minute film like animation or a 10-page book and making it full length works.
Were any of you guys interested by how they did the pee scene? Anyone else wondering how that worked, and then you finally got the answer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wanting.
They just CGI it into space.
Yeah.
It kind of worked pretty cool, but it was like we know where it is, but still like it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting to know exactly how they do it. I mean, seems a little like. See, the one thing that I'm confused about though is like they still have like the bags of piss in the ship. Like, does it go into the bag and then get ejected, or does it just eject straight out? But I guess.
They have to the switch to dump it. But yeah, I don't know why they would have bags if it then like it goes into the bag and then into like the the tank that's for dumping. Like, doesn't make a whole bunch of sense.
And kind of in the same vein of like gross things, what did you guys think of the puke?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that was some good puke.
Puke and Raleigh.
Yeah, it looked really weird because it was like in in space.
0G. Yeah.
I was like, what did he just cough up? And then I'm like, oh, okay, it's. I was like, dang, I didn't know we were watching Alien. Gee.
Yeah. The thing is, that probably was like, they made some fake vomit, some very realistic liquid fake vomit, and then did it into, during the 0G stuff, and that's just how it came out.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if Bill Paxton was like, what? Why is this like solidifying in my mouth? This is gross.
Yeah. Yuck.
Yuck indeed.
Yeah.
Any...
Those are the things they deal with out in space.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Sure.
Yeah, just imagine it's puking inside your own helmet, though.
Yeah.
That's probably the worst.
Well, it's like we got the mask now. We sneeze inside those. Those are the worst.
Yeah.
So I had a question. I was wondering what you guys thought. So Bill Paxton's character, the one who he got sick up in space, the one who threw up. But then he actually, when temperatures dropped, he was like having fevers and stuff. And I was wondering if maybe he actually had the measles while the other guy that they made stay down didn't.
Could be a possibility.
It was my understanding that the guy they sent up into space had measles, and the other guy had never had measles, so that's why they kept him down. Maybe I lost something in translation, but
yeah, because I thought, because they made the one guy stay down because he'd never had measles, and they were predicting he was going to get it while they were doing their moon landing, and it could screw things up. But Jim and the other guy, Bill Paxton's character, they had always had measles as kids, so they were fine. They were immune. And that's why they let them go up. And I wonder if, did he get sick from measles or just get sick because it was so cold in the spaceship?
Yeah, I think it was he just got sick because maybe he had like a virus or bacteria in his body when he went up, and because of the cold temperatures, his body couldn't heat up to fight the infection, so it just kind of
that could be true.
Because that's the whole point of like why they were across the road at the beginning, is because you don't want to get germs
definitely
put in your body.
You don't want anyone sick because when you're suddenly told, all right, you gotta do this life-saving thing, and you're like, well, I want to throw up instead. It's not good for anybody.
I still, in the same vein of things, I don't understand why they didn't have Kevin Bacon do the sick guy's job, because all Kevin Bacon did in that scene where he was like doing the thrusters and he was trying to level
he was
it
just
out.
counting time.
Yeah, he was just counting time, and it's like the sick guy could easily have done that, and then I don't understand that logic there, but I'm not Tom Hanks, so
yeah. Well, it may have been just that's what he was trained for, while the other guy isn't trained for that. So they're like, all right, you're doing it now. I don't know.
I feel like it might have been like I don't know, because it's only a joystick,
Yeah,
I think
they're
Tom,
all pilots.
Yeah, I mean, I think Tom had the harder job of like keeping the. Or was it the other guy keeping the moon in view? Maybe Tom was just looking through the window, making sure that.
Well, they were both making adjustments, but it sounded like the other guy, not Tom, Bill Paxton. I cannot remember Bill's character's name. He was in charge of they were in charge of two different thrusters, and his were inverted, and I think his were the more broad thrusters, while Tom's were more fine movement.
Okay. Yeah, I do remember
that's kind of how I saw it, but
yeah, with the controls being backwards too, it's like with your sick brain, how are you doing this?
Because he is trained professional.
That's right.
I don't think of us to say about the movie.
What'd you guys think of the music? Did you listen to the music at all?
Oh yeah, I mean, I think it was a pretty good soundtrack. Apparently, my wife, when she was a kid, her sisters, my sister-in-law, would listen to that soundtrack all day long.
Actually, when I was in band in high school, we played a song from Apollo 13, and it was one of my more favorite songs to play.
Yeah. So I thought it was a pretty good soundtrack. I thought it did a really good job of it didn't stand out to me as bad. So I just it was good.
Yeah, it was just inspirational music, something to get your heart going,
But yeah.
Add to the tension, I should say, not.
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, let's see what else. I don't know if I have anything else to add.
I'm good. What you guys think of the like ground control people? I know like they probably wouldn't get much script since like they do like all the talking, but they're not really saying too much. Basically, just saying stuff about the rocket, so they only have a character out of that. But still, I think the acting was actually pretty good because you could see him like sweating and stuff like and stuff like that, and like see
Oh
one person
yeah.
running, the other person's not, and like you see him one slowly get exhausted and all that.
No, I think the ground control people did a great job. Yeah, a lot of them just have very limited stuff. They were, like script wise, but they did a good job, I think, of showing that they were in a hectic situation. They were exhausted.
Yeah. I really like that one guy who was trying to cover all his bases. He's like, it's not meant for that kind of flight. And the guy turns
Oh
around.
yeah.
He's like, listen, I'm not going to blame you if they blow up in space. And he's like, okay. And then he just sits down.
And then he's like, I knew it would work. It's like,
Yeah.
no, you didn't. Shut up.
But yeah, I like, even though they didn't have much screen time in general, they gave each of them enough of a personality to kind of tell them apart.
Yeah.
Because a lot of them kind of had that same, like, they had the 60s hair or the 70s hairstyle and glasses, and they kind of had like all the same uniform on. But there were people who stood out in that, like the guy who was balding and the guy who was bigger, who had built the rocket, and the lead guy on the mission, obviously.
Yeah.
But I think they
and
gave them
Harris.
like all like enough. They did enough. They did a lot more than they worked. What am I trying to say here? They used their screen time wisely, right? They really did give it their all. So that's
Yeah.
that's good.
I think they did a good job.
Yep, I agree with that. All right.
But yeah, I think that covers everything. I mean, I guess for those who didn't see it and wondering how it ends, they got home. They made it home safely. Everyone lived.
And they dodged the typhoon.
They dodged the typhoon,
Yes.
which was just the shit storm on their shit cake.
Well, what'd you guys think of them not telling them about a few things during this movie? Like
That they weren't being broadcast.
Well, that and then also they didn't tell them about like how their angle of descent until like almost the last minute, and then they even tell them about the typhoon in the area.
Yeah.
I guess they didn't want to worry them any more than they had to. Well, what do you guys
Yeah.
think of that? Do you think that it's
already high?
do you think that it's right for them to keep that information to themselves?
Well, I think so. Like the trajectory thing. My understanding was they actually hadn't figured that out. Like Kevin Bacon actually figured that out before them, and
But
it wasn't.
Yeah.
And then when they finally noticed it, he's like, "Yes, I knew it. I got it right."
Yeah, because I think they were saying like, oh, they wouldn't, because even Tom Hanks is like, they would have told us if they knew,
Yeah.
and that's why they didn't trust poor old Kevin Bacon.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kevin Bacon's character got some just the short end of all the sticks.
It'll probably just because he joined last second. So.
Oh yeah, no, there was some resentment there towards his character where there's like there should be a guy we've been working with forever that we trust, not some
Random
sex
person.
crazed child.
Yeah, I think. I mean, if I was in Tom Hanks' shoes, I probably would have just scrubbed the mission, honestly. But because the character that Tom Hanks was playing wanted to walk on the moon so bad, and this was probably going to be his only chance. I mean, how many Apollo missions have there been? And I mean, it's not like we're still sending people to the moon now, even though they want to start doing that again. It's one of those like once in a lifetime chances. So I can understand why he like pushed so hard to he wanted to get there no matter what. It's like, it's unfortunate what happened, of course, but it also could have all been avoided if maybe he was a little bit more clear headed.
Yeah.
So I mean, if he hadn't gone up, they still would have had an Apollo 13. They would have changed the crews around, so the people who went up in Apollo 14, they would have had to dealt with all this.
Okay. Maybe I didn't remember that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was just no, we can delay you and have another crew go, because that's kind of what happened. Was he was supposed to be on 14 originally, and then a guy who was supposed to be on 13 got sick, so they swapped him, and they would have just kept swapping people until they would have gotten a good crew. Although I do think they kind of lucked out a little bit, especially since the one guy ended up staying back because they thought he had measles, but then he didn't have measles, and he actually like solved all their problems. Like if he had been up there, he wouldn't have been able to solve their problems, and they all probably would have died.
Yeah.
That was like their one stroke of luck, which they thought was the bad luck at the beginning, but turns out it was the best thing to happen to him.
Yeah. It's it was a pretty cool ending. How he kind of was like jerry rigging things, and he was like, "All right, this is it." It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, got a little depressing in the end, because
Yeah, that whole fake out where they were like, out of contact for 4 minutes or whatever. I was like, they made it. We don't have to do this. Like, even if this is how it happened in real life, we don't actually have to do this here.
yeah. That was more depressing. But I mean, like when they were explaining what actually happened, what happened to them. Was it actual people or just what happened to the characters in this story?
Well, I mean, the characters are based on the real people, and at the end of the movie, the one guy like got elected to like a mayor role or something like that. And then he died of cancer before he could take office.
Yeah, I think it was Senate. He got elected to the Senate.
Oh, okay,
yeah, I don't know if it was just a state senator or a federal senator, but yeah, it was senator, and then he died of cancer before he could do it.
Yeah, it was kind of sad. I mean, I don't think any of them went back into space. It said, right?
Yeah. Bill Paxton's character was supposed to for Apollo 18, but Apollo 18 never happened. Unless you watch the horror movie where it does.
Or did it?
Well, he didn't go up in it either way.
Well, there's Tay's next recommendation, Apollo 18.
I'm about to say, we're going to watch the horror one now.
I want to watch Apollo 11 first.
Greedy, I think you were going to say something earlier, weren't you?
Yeah, it's gone now.
It's gone.
Oh, yes, I do remember, actually. When the spaceship comes back down, the divers get on right away. Wouldn't that spaceship be like 1,000 degrees still? I don't get how they can be. I mean, it's just a minor issue, but it's just like...
Well, I mean, they landed in the ocean.
Yeah, the ocean probably cools it down. And in real life, they probably do wait, but we don't want to wait an hour. It's like, okay, guys, I know you've sat through this movie for like 2.5 hours. We got to wait another hour until we can let them out.
Because you could see it smoking still when they're down there. Yeah. Or maybe that was just the helicopters, but I thought it was smoking.
Yeah, it was probably steaming.
Yeah.
But yeah, the ocean would have done a pretty good job of cooling it down. But yeah, I think they definitely would have had to wait. But just for the movie's sake, they were just like, no, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the ocean's pretty cold. I have no trouble believing that they kind of jumped on it almost right away, but
yeah.
And like I said, if you want to see the actual pod, it's on the Universal Lot Tour. You can cruise on past it and see the product.
Well, someday if I ever go to Florida, maybe I will.
Universal is pretty fun because they have the Spider-Man ride there and the Hulk ride, and the Hulk roller coaster is really cool.
Yeah. Well, and they just opened up Nintendo Land.
Oh yeah, that's in Japan.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Florida and the Japan one open, but Florida and California are getting one as well. They're not open yet because of COVID, but but someday maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Anyone else have anything they want to say about Apollo 13?
I don't think so.
No.
I think good.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and do our final thoughts and rating. And of course, we're going to start with the movie chooser, which is Tay.
It's me. So overall, I thought it was written very well. I think all the acting was really good. I mean, there was some kid acting, which was always a little kind of hit or miss. But yeah, I thought it was fine. It wasn't like, Star Wars Episode 1 kid acting bad. Music, like I said, music was pretty good. Wasn't nothing that took me out, at least. And directing, I thought was good. Everything, acting, overall, I thought it was a really good movie. Like I said, it was a little slow at the start. It does take a little bit to, like, I actually pulled out the timer while I was watching to be like, okay, how far are we in now that I know the action's or it's going to start? And we were a half hour in, right by the when the launch happened, and I was like, yeah, they could probably. I don't know if they'd be able to get away with that in this day and age, but with everyone's attention spans being what they are. But overall, I'd give it a 4.5 out of 5.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much agree with everything Tay said. The only thing that kind of bothered me was the over explanation of a few things in there with the multiple newscasters and news reports and stuff like that. Just felt unneeded at some points. I thought the acting was really good. I felt the cinematography was also really well done. All the special effects were really well done. Besides from like maybe a few parts where they had to green screen them inside the spaceship, but they were viewing it from the outside. It didn't look exactly right, but everything else was really well done. I mean, learning that they were doing all these scenes in 25 seconds makes everything a little bit more impressive, in my opinion.
Agreed.
And I think it was a well-paced movie once you get past like the opening part where they're just kind of setting everything up and they're kind of explaining what's going to happen or what's going on, very gripping. I don't know. I wouldn't say emotional, but I would say it was pretty intense at times and it was pretty gripping. And I'm also going to give this one a 4.5 out of 5.
I agree with both of you guys. The restating everything was kind of annoying, and I really enjoyed I want to say educational stuff, but just them overall like what they experienced and the ways they came up with fixing certain issues. Those are very clever, and the acting was great. And Tom Hanks, he's always, well, not anymore, but he's great. But yeah, so I'm gonna give it a 4.
Ooh, a jab at Tom Hanks.
Yeah, I basically agree with all your points. I thought the opening was pretty slow. They trying to establish character, but they could have done it maybe a little faster. Especially like that eye scene. I don't think I liked it. It looked as like a cool shot, but didn't really do much because she had a nightmare, and she didn't feel good about the thing, but she didn't really do anything to stop him. So I'm just like, okay then. But everything else, the intact moments, the practice with special effects they worked really good, attention to detail. So I'll give it a 4 out of 5.
All right.
Okay, all kind of in the same ballpark.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, good choice, Tay.
Thank you.
All right, Coco Gamer has a movie to recommend to us. What do you have? What do you got for us?
Yemmy's gonna hate me.
Uh-oh.
Is it Batman v Superman?
No.
Okay, all right. Well, maybe I won't hate you. Let's see.
So the movie I chose, because I haven't watched it in a while, it definitely got some controversy to it. Doctor Strange in 2016.
Why am I gonna hate you? I like
know.
this one.
Oh yeah, forgot. I thought you hated it.
I wasn't a huge fan of it, but I didn't hate it. Like, it's not one of my most favorite Marvel movies, but I still enjoy it.
Me too. While on a journey of physical and spiritual healing, a brilliant neurosurgeon is drawn to the world of the mystic arts. So we got director Scott Derrickson with John Spirits as a writer, and then we got Benedict Cumberbatch as Dr. Stephen Strange. His name's Silvetto Jor as Mordor. Rachel McAdams as Dr. Christine Balmer. Bennett Wong as Wong. Mads Mikkelsen as Calcius, and Tilda Swinton as the Ancient One. This movie came out in 2016. Yeah.
I don't know why you assumed that I would hate you.
I don't know. I can't remember what you felt about Doctor Strange, but I didn't think it was positive.
As a rule of thumb, the Marvel universe is fine to me. Like, even their weaker movies are fine. It's the DC universe that gets under my skin, honestly.
As soon as you said, Yemmy, you're gonna hate me, I thought Batman vs Superman right away.
Yeah, I would have hated you.
It was either going to be Justice
that,
League
but I
or
was
Batman v
like, nah.
Superman at that point, and I was like, oh god.
I was thinking that, but I was like, nah, I'm not going to suffer that. I don't want to suffer that much.
No, you can pick any movie that you want. Don't let us stop you. But we will have some retaliation. All right. Well, if you want to join the conversation or you don't want to be spoiled for Doctor Strange from 2016, make sure you watch it before the next episode comes out in 2 weeks. That's right, 2 weeks from now that will come out. And of course, if you want to, choose our fate, as they would say, with the fan vote. That's, like I said, that's attached to this episode. You can choose between Falling Down, Hard Boiled, Goodfellas, or The Good, the Bad, and the Weird. Those will all be in the vote on my Twitter, and like I said, that'll probably last for the entire weekend. And then we'll, of course, reveal who wins at the end of the next episode. And of course, you probably already know who won, but we like to reveal it. Very special moment.
Yes.
All right. Anything else you guys want to say before we sign off?
No.
No?
All right. Well, I am Yemmy the Ferret, and who am I here with?
Grady Waffle.
Taymation.
Google Gamer.
And we are Film Freaks with a Z. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.
See ya.
Bye.
See ya.